Welcome to Rich Conversations. This is a very special episode. This is our 200th episode of the podcast. So thank you for joining us. And thank you for everybody who's been listening and our terrific guests from all over the world and who have led us up to 200. So here we are. And I thought we would do something a little bit different today. While we've done solo episodes in the past, I thought we would maybe ask myself some of the questions that I ask guests. So that's what we're going to do today. And let's start off with briefly introduce yourself. How long have you lived in Chicago? Well, my name is Rich Hebron, and I am the host of this soon-to-be critically acclaimed podcast, Rich Conversations. And I enjoy long walks through the city and through nature and to clear my head and to think and to observe the life around me. That's probably my favorite thing to do is take walks. I enjoy learning and pursuing my curiosity. And that means just about everything as far as where it can take me. I love having deep conversations. I dislike very superficial conversations. And I'm very grateful for life and to be here. So I've lived in Chicago since fall of 2007. So that's coming up on minus 9 months. So I would say I've lived in Chicago for over 13 years. So Rich, what would you say the general vibe of Chicago is? And what makes it unique from other American cities? To describe the vibe of Chicago, sometimes you have to go outside to see inside. And one of my favorite things on trips is coming back and returning. And so say if I fly out of O'Hare, I love airports, by the way, which is why you'll probably hear me ask questions about airports to other people, because I think airports are a great snapshot or like impression of a city or region. And O'Hare is not far from me. So I'll take the bus and then the CTA train to get there. But coming back on trips, I'll take the train and then I'll get off and I'll take the bus back to my apartment. And especially when I get on the bus, I sit down and everybody looks different, but the same at the same time. So like you have people from all different backgrounds that all look different, but there's like this vibe. There's this like chill, cool vibe. And Chicago in particular, it's not a very fashionable city. People aren't, people wear what's comfortable, what's warm, or what's for the season. And that's that's who we are. There's like the vibe of Chicago is a mix between LA chill and New York hustle. So we just do our thing. We just like work hard and we don't have to like talk about it. We just be, we just are who we are. And I think what makes it unique from other cities is that it really embodies these Midwest values that people are, when they think of Americana culture, like that's what it is, but it's like the epicenter of that. From what I've observed, every city and region has different values, and the two distinct values in the Midwest and Chicago especially embodies this is kindness and work ethic. Those two things, if you have those two values, you can make it pretty far in the Midwest. And people will often note the friendliness of people. And, on a daily basis, people are friendly and kind to each other. And apologizing when you like bump into them. Oh, sorry. Like but also like the work ethic here is pretty intense. Like everybody's working, everybody's grinding, and I think those bring us together. We're a very multicultural city, and people come from all over because they see Chicago as a city of opportunity, and that's what I love. One of the biggest knocks is the weather and kind of the terrain. People like going on hikes and being out in the mountains or the beaches, or it's not very glamorous to just have like just flat land. So the outdoorsy people don't necessarily love Chicago, but there's plenty of things to do. We have a lake right here. We have a river. We have so many parks. But the harsh weather. Now, for me, the way I look at it, I personally look forward to those. It kind of hits you suddenly. It's almost always the first 2 weeks of February, where the weather will just like get down in the teens and it won't come back up for like 2 weeks. Everybody's bundled up, but it's that it builds camaraderie, it builds character, both toughness mentally and physically. And I personally love the solitude. So I can just go walk and no one is out. Like if I go to the lake or even downtown, say it'll be like 5 p.m. and it's dark and it's very, very cold, but it's just like you in the city. And it's this very like intimate relationship, and it allows you to think about life and reflect on your experience. And I think that's incredibly unique to other American cities and around the world. And I love it. So the time I have trouble with is like the spring, where it's just like always in the 40s and it's kind of gray, and you just need to go somewhere warm. That's the place. I wouldn't be a snowbird where like you just like stay somewhere for 3 months that's warm. I like doing like little trips like that. So let's go to this one. If someone were to visit your city for a few days, what would you recommend them doing? Well, first, Chicago has something for everybody. So it's really up to the individual and their personality and interests, and what they would like to do. I've been enjoying giving personal tours at the Art Institute. I've given like 3 private tours within like the last month and a half. I usually go there on Thursdays because it kind of like kicks off my weekend. I almost go every week. I'm a member there, so I get in for free and 3 other people. So if you're listening and you want to go to the Art Institute and visit, I can show you around for free. And I just enjoy the vibe there. It's very inspiring, and really, to me, like art is it's just ideas, and those ideas are presented in different ways, whether it's a painting or a installation or sculpture or something, whatever it is, right? So I would love to give people tours of the Art Institute. Live music, definitely check out live music. There's so many different venues in the city. Check those out. The food scene is great. It's something for everybody. It's fantastic. It's so fun living in Chicago. There's something to do every single night. And in the summer, especially, there's so much energy, especially in the summer. It's like this pent up energy that explodes for like 3 months, and it's you don't want to miss it. It's so cool to be here. So I would say it all depends on the person and the season. Yeah. How about this? Who are 3 musical artists in your heavy rotation right now? Right now, so I listen to a lot of like dance pop. That was my number one category on my Spotify Wrapped. French house. I like groovy, kind of vibey. Groovy is probably the better term, like new disco. Recently, especially when I was in New York, I was listening to this album called Since I Left You by the Avalanches, and watching the Super Bowl and seeing, like Dr. Dre and Eminem perform. I have dipped back into that discography, which has been pretty fun lately. Nevermind, the Nevermind album by Nirvana. I've been listening to that because I just recently read this Chuck Klosterman book. We should do an episode on this book. It's called The 90s. Chuck Klosterman is my favorite writer. He's like philosophical, but uses pop culture to like think philosophically. It's a lot of fun. And so like, obviously Nirvana is a big part of the 90s or 90s culture. I just finished that book recently. That was a good book. I enjoyed that. Nirvana, Tame Impala, I listened to quite a bit. I've been listening more to like loungy kind of music. Like Frank Sinatra, not exactly Frank Sinatra, but Alexander Claudy, she was on the podcast episode like 180 something. She sent this from Greece. Isn't this cool? She sent a CD of her album. It's called Shampoo, I guess, in Greek, but it's got this like cool sound. I like just like this nice sound. Been listening to Lana Del Rey a little bit lately. I don't know exactly why, but it also has that kind of loungy. I just kind of like that recently. I'll like at night drink a glass of Bordeaux and just relax, listen to that music. I'm sounding kind of old now, but what I do in the mornings, I've been listening a lot to. I bought the record 1999 by Prince on vinyl for like, I found it for like $8. So like every morning I have a morning routine that I follow, and then as I'm making breakfast, which is like hour 3 of this routine, I play the first 2 tracks, and it's 1999 and Little Red Corvette, and those bangers just like start me off in a great mood for the day. So a little bit of Prince. I don't really listen to Prince on Spotify though. So those are definitely some artists and music in my heavy rotation right now. Who or what are 3 people or things that have influenced your outlook on life? And we'll stick to famous or historical things that other people would be aware of or that could research, because obviously we're influenced by our parents and our family and our friends, but it doesn't really help other people or listeners to explore ideas that those people have. I would say, I once on my, I have 2 whiteboards. I have like a small one over there that's like, what is that? That's probably like 24 by 36. And then I have an 8-foot whiteboard in the living room. And I remember I went through I put like 100 names on there of just people who have influenced me. As an artist, what artists do is they see ideas and they take ideas from everywhere, and it kind of informs their own art and their own perspective. So nothing is actually truly original. It's just, through all these different ideas are filtered through an individual's mind, and it seems original, right? But I would say of 3, if I had to narrow it down to 3, because the host asks such tough questions, I'd probably go Phil Jackson. This is in no particular order. But if it wasn't in order, it'd be the Beatles, Phil Jackson, um, ooh, maybe Vincent Van Gogh. Maybe those three. Now, obviously, I've been influenced by many ideas, but yeah, I'd say probably those three. Definitely, yeah, I'd probably say those three: the Beatles, Phil Jackson, and Vincent Van Gogh. For so many different reasons. That would be a podcast itself. See, everything is like a podcast. Because what podcasts are, they're just like audio files. So whatever's on those audio files. But we're wrapping up here. We have a couple questions left. What's something you're curious about recently? Now, you're asking me. That is like, this is kind of weird. It's kind of meta, but so Rich, what is something you're curious about recently? I could probably give you an answer, I think, but if you ask other people what I've been curious about, they'll probably tell you the information revolution. I can't shut up about this, including on potential dates that I've been on recently. But it's the most profound thing to happen in our lifetimes. It is disrupted and influenced everything. And what essentially this is that we're able to measure data and information. And in a computer context, it's allowed us to infinitely like do things. And everything is available. And it's also going to create more revolution. So in like human history, there are these revolutions. So the first one being the cognitive revolution, where, as a species, we just like, oh, let's use our brains, right? The next one is the agricultural revolution, which has created societies. The next one happens like 300, 400 years ago, and that's the scientific revolution. So the scientific process, and that was created kind of in the Renaissance, and now the information revolution. But what is so unique about the information revolution is how it will enable multiple revolutions to happen quicker and quicker. So you see this like, say 70,000 years ago, you have the cognitive revolution, then like 10,000 years ago, then like 400 years ago, and then now, and then we're going to have like upcoming, we'll have the biology revolution, the energy revolution, because of what the information revolution allows us to do. So that's what I've been talking a lot about recently, and I need to read more about this book called The Information, and it goes on about the history. Like Alan Turing obviously was a big influence. It's a very dense book, but in the long run, history is the story of information becoming aware of itself. Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. I'm also curious about culture. The culture that exists right now. So conversations I've had with many people across ideologies, across industries, just across geography. the same patterns are coming up. So the patterns in these conversations, and people are like coming to the realization, or like having thoughts. They're asking questions about the current culture. It seems to be really fake, like really fake. And it creates this really boring culture, which is really interesting. It's creating a culture where you can't ask questions. There's almost like this blind acceptance. And in like intelligent, reasonable people that I talk to, like everybody is kind of reflecting on this. It's interesting. So I'm very curious where, as a culture, we go moving forward. I think that'll be really interesting. What's something that excites you over the next 2 years, Rich? And this is our final question for our 200th episode. You know, it's abbreviated. Usually we ask more questions to guests, but something that excites me. I'm excited for the projects that I'm working on, the direction that they're going, and 2 years from now, I mean, what do you think? We'll be at like 500 episodes. I don't know. That'd be fun. I'd probably say, though, falling in love. That's what excites me over the next 2 years. I believe that I'll fall in love, and I'm excited for that experience and that whole period of time, and like transitioning into the next kind of phase of my life. I think that'll be really exciting. That's what I'm looking forward to. Now, where that will come from or who it will be, I have no idea. That's the conundrum, isn't it? But I think it will happen, and I'm excited for it. So that concludes episode 200. Rich, I'd like to thank you for joining us and sharing this with us. It's greatly appreciated. You're welcome. And we have so many more great episodes coming up. Some great things are happening, and we're just meeting so many awesome people, so many thoughtful individuals that are doing terrific things in their lives and their industries. And I'm excited for the future. The more people I talk to around the world, there's this enthusiasm about the future, and contrasting it with like, well, this is a whole other podcast episode, but people around the world are excited about the future and the possibilities. And it's really cool. It's really cool to be a part of the human story right now. And having that humility that we're just like on this continuum, you know, and as young generations, we have the opportunity to affect and create and shape what the human story will be. And to me, that's really exciting. And I love just exploring a lot of ideas with people from all over. It's awesome. So thank you for listening to episode 200. 200 is now in the books, and we're going to move forward, and we're just going to get better every day, every episode. And it's exciting.